I was at work, so
Bele.
yes, we are live once again on our weekly Facebook program, The Clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. And like I said, we didn't have any program last week Sunday because it was Easter. We all announced that there be no program last week Sunday because a lot of our fans, a lot of our viewers have been calling. Just what happened. We didn't see you last week Sunday, but I told them that we actually announced that last week was Easter, so it's Easter break for everybody. So let me formally wish everybody happy Easter belated. And for everyone that wished me happy birthday too, I really appreciate your love, your kindness, the call, the SMS, the messages, everything. In fact, I really felt so good. Thank you so much. I'm using this medium to say thank you for the love you really poured out. God bless you greatly. I really appreciate that. And today we've resumed from our break. Anyway, we actually had break last week, so we are back again this week. And what we'll be discussing this evening is all about professional establishment for the youth. Yes, this is what they've been struggling with. How can I be established? We've been hearing a lot of big names, a lot of household names. People are really making it, but they now find it difficult how to really establish themselves in different facets of life. And that is what we'll be treating this evening, professional establishment for the youth. And that is what we'll be discussing. And this evening, I have a guru. I call her a guru. Well, you need to hear that for yourself, really. So I don't like boasting too much. You will hear that for yourself. She's somebody I met recently, and everything about was like, oh my. When I grow up, I really want to be like her. But that is the truth. Like all of you know, all our guests have always been fantastic, and she is not. She's not left out today. She's actually fantastic too. So let me just give me a few seconds introduce our guest this evening to you because I really want to give honor the way it should be done. Yes, I said she's Mrs. Joan Oben. That according to her, let me read the profile out. Yes, Mrs. Joan Obed is an experienced senior business leader with over 18 years international experience in a range of business skills across oil and gas, financial services, manufacturing, and real estate sectors. She holds an MSc in Human Resources from the University of Manchester, England, a postgraduate diploma in counseling psychology from the University the pronounce that man.
In
Pronounce
Cameroon.
that. Yes. From she said she said in Cameroon, man, that is a very good one. I love that. Okay. Where did I stop? She said in Cameroon and a BSc in economics from the University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Her international work experience has taken her to several countries across West Africa, South Africa, Asia, Gulf region, and Europe, spans mostly in all aspects of human resources, but also in career counseling, operational excellence, international mobility, service quality, continuous improvement, and customer excellence, amongst others. Her passion is in working with young people and nurturing the next generation, as she puts it. She has devoted herself to working with young adults in supporting them during those first critical career years when they establish themselves for the rest of their career years. She is a chartered member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, that is CIPD, in the United Kingdom, and also of the CIPD in Nigeria. She is also a certified change practitioner. Yes, I love that. Change practitioner. Yes, and she's a career counselor and life coach. Mrs. Joan Oben is presently the chief of staff with Landway, a fast-growing, award-winning real estate company in Lagos, and that is who she is. Now, little wonder you can little wonder when I said when I grow up, I want to be like her. I love successful people and I'm always aspiring to be better in everything I do. Now, good evening, ma, and I'm saying welcome. Welcome,
Thank
ma.
you.
It's a delight to
Thank
have
you.
you on our program this evening. I'm really
Thank
privileged and honored. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a lovely day, evening in Lagos. Thank you so much for having me
Okay.
too.
All right. Nice having you too. Would you like to tell us more about yourself? If there is anything that you think you should tell us, because I feel there is one.
I think you just said a whole lot of things. You just said a whole lot of things.
Okay.
That was an introduction and a half. And a half. So yes, I love working with young people. Is what I've done most of my life, and I'm looking forward to the conversation this evening.
Okay. And I said that because I said there is still more. She's also a grandma. Yes.
Ah,
The grandchild just landed. Yes, she's a grandma.
yes,
So
yes.
nice having you. Yes, nice having you around once again. Now, our first question to you this evening, man. Like headlines have been saying that there are no jobs anywhere. Is that true? How true is that?
Ooh,
How true?
yes. No, there are jobs. There are jobs. I think it's a matter of supply and demand, right? So there might not be jobs in the specific areas where job seekers are looking, but there are
Okay.
jobs in other areas. So, for example, I think that there is an oversupply of graduates in the liberal arts, and then not enough in the STEM subjects, in science and technology and engineering and math. So maybe people should reorientate themselves towards those subjects. But it's dynamic and it's constantly changing. However, if you ask headhunters and recruiters, they will tell you that they have roles that they've been struggling to fill for weeks and months, which means that there are
Hmm.
jobs.
Okay.
So I think that the challenge is in the variance between the academic curriculum on the one hand and the industry needs on the other. So I'm very sure that if I go to our some of our universities today, the curriculum has not changed in years, whereas the industry
Hmm.
is ever evolving. So that has created that gap, that people that we are churning out of our schools are not fit for purpose for the industry. And which is why you begin to see that some of our employers are taking the laudable opportunity to try to bridge that gap. So you see a lot of academies growing in some of our with our employers, just trying to bridge the gap between the technical education that our graduates are getting and what they need in their industries. So what I can say to young graduates who are looking for jobs is that even when there are no jobs in the traditional sense of the word, we they can be a little bit more creative in providing
Hmm.
solutions to the problems around them. So everyday problems, whether it's food or water or power, things like that. And they are better equipped. It's a more open society today. They have better social skills because of all
Hmm.
the information that they are getting. So using a combination of these natural skills that they have, they're looking around them to identify the needs of the community and other interests and passions, what some people call side hustle. For example, some volunteer work, some freelancing can create work as opposed to jobs, right? So, in doing that, maybe work will become a job sooner rather than later.
Wow. That's a very good one. I love what you said. His side hustle is good thing. Unlike well, I don't know. When I was growing up, I believe in side hustle. That has always been my life. Even till now, I believe in side hustle. I'm not more of an office person. That is not me. White collar job person. That is not me. So I believe, and you said it. Try to create something for yourself. Be creative. Just don't sit down there and be thinking, oh, where can I get job? Where can I get employment for? That's a very good one, man. I really appreciate that. Now, our second question to you is, does a second degree mean a better job? And what chances do fresh graduates, having knowing that schools are turning out more graduates, which she or he is furthering education? So, you have
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Good question. Our graduates are often at crossroads after their first degrees. Do I get a master's? Do I work? What do I do? Right? So let's take a step back and just look at what are the reasons why you would do one or the other. So, for example, why would you want to go straight into a master's program? There are a couple of
Okay.
reasons. Progressing to a higher qualification. So if your goal is to be in academics, right, you want to go to have a PhD, a professor, lecturer in the university, then it makes sense to go straight into a master's. Having a second degree qualifies you for jobs. It increases job security. It makes you more competitive than a first degree. It's not a guarantee to a job, but it just makes you more competitive because now the standard is the master's, right? So people who do not have a master's seem to be less competitive than those who don't. And then scholarships. If you're thinking to further education on the back of scholarships, they sometimes come with an age band. So you have to be under 30, for example. So if you postpone your master's up to do it further down the road, then the age would necessarily disqualify you. So you want to go and do it right away. That is the reason. The last one I would mention is some people think that you earn more with a higher degree. It's not always the case in my experience. Some employers don't necessarily pay more because you have a master's as opposed to a bachelor's. But those are some of the reasons why some people will choose to go for a master's right away. Now, what are the goals? Why would you postpone a master's? The very first one is money. It's expensive. Going to do a master's is expensive. So if you cannot afford it right away, then you want to go straight into work, and in order to be able to save money and fund your master's. Now, if you are lucky to get employment with one of those employers that sponsor or support second degrees, then some people are also using that route, right? So you get a job, and after a couple of years, you want to go for a master's, and you will get some funds towards that. So that's some of the reasons why some people are also postponing masters and choosing to do it later on or in a job. The third reason also is you are not always sure what subject you want to do. So you have a first degree in finance, for example. So what do I do for a second degree? It's not always obvious immediately you graduate with a bachelor's what you want to do for a master's. So that short period of work, 2 years or 3 years, helps you to decide that. Maybe you pick a fancy in a new area that you were not familiar with previously. And so that's how work helps you to decide what to study for your masters. And then another reason why some people would go for masters much later on after working is maybe because they didn't get a good grade with their first degree. So they didn't qualify necessarily for a master's program right away. So maybe you had a second class lower or you had a third class. Some universities will not admit you. However, if you can show some work experience, then that may give you a leg in. So those are some of the pros and cons, some of the reasons why people would choose to do a master's right away or much later or not at all. But what I want to say about that is these days there are a lot of certifications and online resources and non-traditional master options that are available, whereby you really do not need necessarily a generic master's degree like we did some years back. And I think employers tend to favor some of these certifications depending on your area of expertise rather than a general master's degree. But in all, whether you are going for a master's right away or you are going for a master's later on, or you are not going at all and you are choosing the route of certifications, I think more important than the accumulation of these degrees and certificates is the application of the knowledge that comes with it. I find that a lot of people are unable to defend these certifications, right? So you speak to somebody who has supposedly earned a master's, or the person is in employment for a couple of months, and it doesn't show. You don't feel that the knowledge um, comes into the workplace with the job owner. So whatever choice you make, right? So make your qualification count in whatever role you find yourself. Let's know that you got a master's, you didn't get a master's, but you are good for the qualifications that you say that you have. I'd like to see that a little bit more.
That's a very good one. Learn to defend whatever you have.
Yep.
Defend it. That's a good one, because a lot of people indeed, they just know, I just want to go to school, after school, what next? For you to defend it is always a problem. I like that. And there is a point I even picked from what you said. Whether you go to that, if okay, with your masters, it has value to you. It has value. That is, in fact, I really love that. So don't feel that, oh, okay, let me tell you something. Recently, I was talking to her when she told me about her profile and everything. I was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Then my response was like, oh, that is all grammar, no money in the bank. Then the truth is that that was what she said. But the truth is that whether there is money in the bank or not, that she those things that she has been able to achieve over the years has really added value to her, whether we like it or not. And that is one of the reasons why we even thought today. And we said, oh, please come on our program, man. We really want to hear from you. Impact life with what you have. And that is it. Like some people, we always say that a Rome is not built in a day. Do you understand? Bit by bit, we always get to where we are going to. And that is a very good one. We should always learn to add value to our lives. Thank you so much, man. Now, our next question to you. I'm thinking probably we're going to finish this topic next week. I don't know if that will be good by you, man, sincerely, because of time. And we are still on the pre-establishment questions. We've not gotten to the period of getting established. Do you understand? I don't know how convenient it is for you, but let's still carry on. Now, the next question to you, Ma, is should fresh graduates be specific about the industry they desire to build a career in?
It's a tough time in the job market to be
Okay.
very choosy about the industry you want to go into. I would say that,
Okay.
right? So a lot of employers are just recovering from the slowdown, with a few
Mm,
exceptions. There are some industries that we know they actually saw a boom during 2020. So logistics, for example, tech, real estate. But this is not a time to be fussy about where you want to work, in my view. Also, remember that multi-sector experience is what employers are looking for. So
mm,
wherever you start, whatever sector or whatever industry you start, is not where you will end up. And we would hope that in the course of your career, you would move, across to other sectors and gain other skills and competencies. What I think people should rather emphasize on is on transferable skills. On transferable skills. So those skills that are, I call them sector neutral, because they don't belong in any industry or in any job. They are general skills that can be transferred between industries. So I name some of them. So for example, problem solving. Yeah, you're faced with a problem, and how you go about it in a logical manner. It doesn't come naturally to everybody. Data analysis, being able to look at a data set or a huge set of data, and then collate it, put it together, and draw inferences from it, and present it in such a way that management can make decisions out of it. Communication is a big one. This
mm.
is a sector neutral transferable skill that you can take from one industry to another. Teamwork, work ethic, commercial awareness, being aware of your industry. What's going on in my industry in oil and gas? Is the price going up or is it going down? Real estate, are people buying or are they not buying? right? Banking industry, what's CBN doing about, the banking sector, for example. So these are skills that you can move within industry. So wherever you start, it is hope that you will be able to move in the course of your career. It is true that some industries, for a variety of reasons, pay higher than others for now. But even that is dynamic, right? So in today's world, people want to work, everybody wants to work in financial services, everybody wants to work with telecoms, everybody wants to work in oil and gas to a lesser degree. They have seen some changes in the last couple of years. But it does not mean that will not change. The economy is also dynamic. In another 10 years, tech is also fintech is an area that is a new development in the last 10 years. We didn't have that 25 years ago. We didn't have an industry called fintech, for example. So do not focus on the sector or industry that you start. Focus on gaining transferable skills that you can move across industries.
Focus on gaining transferable skills. That is a good one. Focus on that. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much. I'm even gaining more from you. I'm learning, sincerely. I'm learning from what you've been saying. Now, our next question to you now is that should they accept the first job they are offered, no matter what, knowing what they need, knowing that they need to gather experience? Did you get that?
Yeah, I did. I did to say.
Okay.
Now, it's difficult to say a hard yes and a hard no to a question like that. But if I follow from the previous question of don't be fussy about the industry because your industry may change in the course of your career, I would necessarily say tend towards a yes for a first job offer for a number of reasons. One, financial distress. The most obvious reason for accepting your first job is that, hey, I've finished school, I need a job. Now, I need to start paying bills, right? So exactly. If you've been unemployed for an extended period and the bills are piling up, it's getting to crunch time, right? Start paying these bills. So quick, before they say Jack Robinson, you don't accept. You've gone into the job. Another one is if you have been unemployed for extended period, right? When the unemployment is 6 months, and then it grows into 12 months and it grows into 18 months, by that time, whatever offer that comes on the table, you would accept it, right? Another scenario is getting your foot in the door. So, okay, maybe you are not under financial distress, right? You're relatively comfortable. You have not been unemployed for an extended period, right? But then you have been made an offer that is not a perfect fit. Why would you take it? You would take it because you want a foot in the door. So being inside is always better than being on the outside. So you can use a role as a stepping stone. Once inside, then you can start actively networking and working with people in order to make this foot in the door either more permanent or it gives you an opportunity for a second move further down the road. And then the last reason why I would take a first offer like that would be a chance of a lifetime. So, for example, and some people find themselves in that situation whereby the perfect opportunity presents itself as the first job offer. Just think of all the brand names in the world whereby, for some reason or the other, you're lucky enough to just get that job offer from one of those brands. You don't have time to say, let me think about it for 2 weeks. You will take it right there and then, because they say sometimes when you're offered a seat on the rocket ship, you don't ask what seat is it. You just jump in. You just jump in. You figure out which chair they have given you. You just jump in because it's a rocket ship, right? So that's the way it works. Those are some of the reasons why we would take a first job offer without thinking about it. However, what I would say about first job offer is that the line from first job to retirement is not a straight one. It's not a straight one. It's full of twists and turns and successes and sometimes disappointments and failures, right? So everybody has to start somewhere. So saying yes or no on your first job offer is not, one, the end of the world, and two, doesn't mean that you'll be stuck there forever. And it will be dictated more by your personal circumstances and the options available at that time, um, to make that decision.
Thank you so much, ma. Like I said, I'm equally learning fast from what you've been saying. You said something now that I'm taking home. It's better to be in than being outside. It's better, and that is key. Most people do not understand it. I never understood it like that before, not until now. But thank you. I'm taking it home. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now the next question on this pre-establishment question is, what are the essential things that fresh graduates should do while waiting for or seeking employment?
Plenty. They can do plenty, and because yes, so this period can be extended. It can be an extended. It can be a very short period of 2 months, 3 months. It can also be a very long period. So you might as well plan it and structure it. The first thing I would say is continuous learning. Continuous learning. I'm a strong advocate for lifelong learning. There's no time that you are too old to learn. So if you can learn at any point in time, you can learn while you are waiting for your first employment. So take a class, learn a language, pick up some tech skills, learn how to develop a web, do some programming, social media, soft skills, communication. Even when you are in a job, you don't stop learning. So you can't stop when you are not. And there are many options these days for learning. So many options. I myself, I have taken a few courses on what I call MOOCs. I usually pass that around to a lot of the young people around me. Massive open online courses. The most common ones are Coursera and edX. But these days you have a lot of Ivy League schools that offer courses for young people. And yes, some of them are expensive, but yes, some of them are free, absolutely free, as in zero money to pay. You just have to dig very deep to find them. They are hidden in all of those online links in their website. So find them because they are there. Another thing you can do is you can volunteer. A lot of jobs come from volunteering. I'm sure a lot of people know this already. So get out there and volunteer a couple of hours a day. Maybe your uncle owns a printing press. Maybe your mentor is doing something else. You can volunteer a few hours a day towards a worthy cause and change lives in the process. And it's also quite fulfilling. And you pick up skills while you volunteer. The fact that you're not paid when you volunteer does not mean that you don't pick up skills. You pick up skills all the way. You can do some freelance. You can do some freelance as well. Freelance is different from volunteering. Volunteering, you don't get paid. Freelance is when you contract job for a fixed term to carry out a specific task. So for example, you've learned how to build a website, right? So you build a website for somebody for a fixed fee, or you write content for a film because you know how to do that. You've picked up that skill, or you edit a book for someone, or you photograph an event for someone, or you DJ an occasion because you know about that, or you MC an event. A lot of people do that now these days. I've attended some very interesting occasions with MCs. These people, this is freelance work. It's typically not full time. So it starts out because it's a passion, it's something that you do because you enjoy doing it, you do it for a few friends, and then it grows into a very deep client base that can become even entrepreneurial. So while waiting for your ideal first job, you can do freelance. And then the last one that's getting a lot of attention these days is podcasting. It used to be very Western, but I'm beginning to see that here now. A lot of people are owning a podcast and running podcasts. If you gain enough followership, and you can begin to earn money of the stories that you tell. Everyone has a story. Everyone has an interesting story to tell. You can tell a story, you can sell a service or an expertise. You can monetize your podcast too. It doesn't have to be something that you do just for fun. If you have a good followership, you can earn some money from adverts, from offering short online courses, from consulting because you have an expertise that others don't have, or from hosting events, or from holding your own show, or selling specific products. There's so much that you can do with a podcast. And I know that some people are earning millions. I'm planning to start my own podcast soon as well. So let's get in on it, on the whole podcast trend. Let me put it that way. And I know that there are a few, and the young people will know this better than I do. There are a few hosts that will actually host your podcast now for free for a period and give you training on how to start a podcast for a few weeks, all for free. So the entry point is actually quite low, quite minimal. You don't have to spend too much money. It's something that you can afford to do while you are seeking employment.
Indeed, loaded. When I asked the question, it said plenty. So I was thinking of the plenty, and indeed, this one is even more than the plenty. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Now, our next question is, what should a professional resume contain?
Mm-hmm. Uh, Tosi, I'm going to twist this question around, right?
Okay,
Because
ma'am.
I feel as though it's easier to say what a professional resume should not contain. Because I feel like most people understand that a resume is all about your skills and your competencies, and they go a long way to showing us that. However, a lot of other information that should not be on a resume tends to cloud that good information. So that's what I want to pay attention to. So let me start with the one that would seem obvious, but I still see it in resumes even till this day. So for example, under personal, when people say personal, sometimes it's at the top of the resume, sometimes it's at the bottom of the resume. You see details like religion. You see details like state of origin. You see details like local government. And you begin to wonder what this has to do with competence in performance in the role, right? Nothing to do. So my rule of the thumb is any information that does not tell me how you are going to do the job is not relevant in a resume. Leave it out. I even go as far as trying to be gender neutral in a resume. Sometimes you can't get away with it. So, for example, I'm called Joan Oben, right? So, Joan is a female name. You will always know that I'm a girl. However, if you have one of those gender neutral names like Bola Ayuba, I can't tell if you're male or female. Don't spoil it by adding faith. Then now we know you're a man. Or putting Chike, now we know, putting faith, now we know you're a woman. Or putting Chike, now we know you're a man. Because men don't answer Chike, right? So, as neutral as you can possibly be on a resume for me is better. And the reason is we all have biases. So the person looking at your resume may have a religious bias, might have a name bias, might have a gender bias. And you just make it easier for them to discriminate if you make it so obvious which religion, which state, which local government, which gender you are. So if you can, leave it out. Another one is embellishment. There is embellishment, then there is extreme embellishment. Like those ones are just blatant lies, right? Please don't lie. So intermediate French, right? I happen to be multilingual, so that's one that I always catch out very frequently. So your French is very basic, but you put there that you speak intermediate French. It's not true. Don't say so. Put basic French, right? So don't lie on your resume. Um, references, in my view, do not have a place on a resume unless it is specifically requested. Sometimes when you're filling online application forms, they ask you for your references. Perfect, put it on that. But if you're submitting a resume to a job application, you don't need to have a 2-page resume with a 1-page list of references. That's what we tend to see sometimes, because nobody's checking out your reference until you actually get the job. So it's not required in the course of a job application. So you're losing very valuable white space that you could use telling us about why you are the best person for the role. Put in references. Another one that we still see is less than professional sounding email addresses, right? So those funky email addresses that we all had when we were teenagers, cutechick.com or
Lazy
beerlover.com,
themselves.
exact things like that. Yeah. Once you leave university and you're in the professional world, it's tricky. It's tricky. You come across as very unserious. Change it. Change your email address and put one that is a little bit more serious. And then the last one that I would say is there's some very specific company specific acronyms that will not be understood outside the company or even outside an industry. So I use the example, I always use bank examples because I spent so much time in the bank. NPL. So when you say NPL, it means non-performing loans. If you put it in a resume, if you don't work in a bank, you don't understand it. So if you are applying for a non-bank job, nobody understands what NPL means. So we tend to do that, to put acronyms in our resumes, and the only person who understands it is us. So let's try as much as possible to avoid that. So a good tip for resumes, for job applications, is to try and embed as much as possible the keywords in your resume. So whatever position you're applying for, whether it's customer service or human resources or IT, there are some key terms that are associated with that profession. Try and embed them in your resumes. The reason being that a lot of organizations now use automatic tracking systems to just search for keywords on your resumes so that they are not flipping through resumes manually. And if you have those keywords embedded in your resume, then you can pass that first step very easily. I hope that helps.
More than, in fact, I sincerely don't know what to say. I was asking for tips on professional. What did you call it? I was asking for tips on what should be in professional resume, as you said it, because while I was asking was resume. Anyway, that was my Nigerian English. That's what you said was what touched me most, that what should not be. And most people do not even know it. And that is the truth. I belong to a group, a platform. Some of them are actually here. They are responding now. Some of them are responding. And someone, what it's true. Yeah, I belong to a platform. And someone is there. She's always posting new jobs every day for people in case it's a Christian group. If you need job, if you need something, make sure you apply. They are real, just go there. And she came back and told the group. I read it, I was like, so the last thing she said was that all the people, like the personnel, what they've been saying is Fine, you are Christian. They don't come up with, according to the Bible, according to this. Do you understand? It will not help you in any way. It will not help you. Like what you said, now don't put your state of origin. Don't put this one. Don't put that. That is not what they need. Ma, I don't know. Me, I'm bringing you back next week because we have just 12 minutes more. You will please oblige me. I'm begging you, please. We have 12 minutes more. And yet we still have a lot of questions for the period of getting established. But these ones you've given to us on the period of the pre-establishment period is a lot. Is a lot. I personally, there are some things because, okay, fine, it's professional establishment you're talking about. My own profession, what I want to go through is into politics. Now, I have some questions about that too. Because it's a profession on its own. What can
Yeah.
I do? Things like that. Exactly, it's a profession on its own. What can somebody do? What should be in that resume? What should not be? Those are the things I personally want to learn. And these are what you've been able to tell us few of it today. Ma'am, I'm begging you. I'm sure people want to learn too because they are typing that please, you have to come next week. Please, will you oblige us, ma? We beg
No,
you.
it's this is something that I'm very passionate about, because I think that the young people do need help, and I in my experience I find that when I have taken the time to support some of these young people, they are very amenable. They are very amenable. They latch on to the learning, and they do well, and they do really really well. So I will always give you time to sing. I will always give you time.
Ah, ma, it's nice knowing you. You see the reason why I said when I grow up, I want to be like you. Thank you so much, ma, because it's true. You really said a lot, a lot, a lot. You see, somebody said, please come back again, ma. She has said she's coming back next week, Sunday, because we've actually divided the question into two. One of them is pre-establishment questions, and the other one is period of getting established. But what we've been able to treat today is pre-establishment questions, and she has even said more than what me have ever imagined that she will even talk about. Thank you so much, ma. I really appreciate you. Sincerely, I appreciate you. Before we call it a date on tonight's program, and I'm sure by next week, all your audience that really want to come, that we are not, they will definitely be on board tomorrow, next week, Sunday. But before we call it a day, let me read a profile out to you again because these are what people pay for. No, 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 I know you are very humble. Sincerely, I know. Because we need to say some things which are true. People pay. I know how much people pay to get this in seminars. I know how much they pay to get this. Do you understand? People, I know what they pay, but we getting it without not paying anything. Abba, we need to appreciate the person who has been able to do this. Let's appreciate it. Please, I would like to tell you who she is once again. She is, sorry, hold on 1 second, so that we can prepare, so that we no, I'm telling our audience, so that we can all prepare ourselves for next week. Please invite people. This is what we are getting for free. Invite others so that people's life will be better. I personally, like I said, I didn't know something. We asked her that she should tell us tips. Now she's telling us things that should not be. And most people do not know it. And thank God she's been able to tell us today. Now I will tell you, and she is Mrs. Joan Oben, and Mrs. Janoben is an experienced senior business leader with over 18 years international experience in a range of business skills across oil and gas, financial services, manufacturing, and real estate sectors. She holds an MSc in Human Resources from the University of Manchester, England, a postgraduate diploma in counseling psychology from the university, whatever she said, Cameroon, from a university in Cameroon, and a BSc in economics from the University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Her international work experience has taken her to several countries across West Africa, South Africa, Asia, Gulf region, and Europe. Spans mostly in all aspects of human resources, but also in career counseling, operational excellence, international mobility, service quality, continuous improvement, and customer excellence, among others. Her passion is in working with young people and nourishing and nurturing the next generation. As she puts it, she has devoted herself to working with young adults in supporting them during those first critical career years when they establish themselves for the rest of their career years. She is a chartered member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD, in the United Kingdom, and also of the CIPM in Nigeria. She is also a certified change practitioner, career counselor, and life coach. Joanne Obiang is presently the chief staff with Landwell, a fast-growing, award-winning real estate company in Nigeria, and she's also a grandmother. Nice having you around today, ma. We really appreciate everything for your selfless service, because the service you've given tonight is indeed selfless, and we are appreciating it. We don't like taking things for granted. With in Clinic Foundation, we don't take anything for granted. We appreciate everything. And to our viewers, I'm saying thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, I want to beg you, what you've gained tonight, most times is not free. And for the fact that you've been able to get it tonight, please invite people for next week. Invite friends. If you really love them and you want them to be established in life, please invite them. Let them watch it. If I'm listening to it, I'm gaining the experience for myself, not for others. But if you know of anyone that they need to get improved in every facet of their lives, please invite them so that they will get over, so that we all get this knowledge together. And this is why we call it a date this evening. So our viewers, I say thank you. And to our guests, I say thank you so much, ma. Thank you. God bless you. Until we meet
Thank you.
again next week, I remain my humble self and your loyal friend, Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. Until then, bye. Bye. That's what I've always said. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.